As a bail hearing in these matters. The defendant is personally present and will be representing herself. The state is ready to proceed both with the PV hearing and a bail hearing if that becomes necessary.
Okay. And do you have your probation officer, and what are the allegations?
I do, Your Honor. This is Mary Tegner. She is with Marion County Department of Corrections, the parole. She is the probation officer, or a probation officer. She's actually not the probation officer specifically assigned to Ms. Gaston's case, but she is covering this morning and does have the file. The allegations of the probation violation are that the defendant failed to report to the probation officer as directed, and that she failed to pay court-ordered financial obligations. There was a probation violation report that was completed by Sandy Olson, who is the assigned probation officer that should be part of the court file. If not, I can quickly make copies for the court.
Okay, well, why don't you swear in and have her testify as to what these allegations are, and
okay.
You have your right to...
Note, prosecutor's big smile. Judge is letting the person who is not Pam Gaston's assigned probation officer testify.
Cross-examine.
She won't be smiling later when she's on the witness stand herself.
If you'll raise your right hand, please. I just want to say perjury, you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please be seated. Your full name, and last name for the record, please.
Okay.
Could I ask a question briefly before we start? Could I have a piece of paper?
Certainly.
I could not get paper at the jail, and I need this paper.
You have a pen too, ma'am?
Give me a pen, thank you.
Okay.
My name is Mary Catherine Tegner, last name spelled T-E-G-N-E-R.
Thank you.
How are you employed?
I am employed by Marion County Department of Corrections.
And how long have you been so employed?
25 years.
And what is your position with the Department of Corrections?
I'm a parole and probation officer.
And my understanding is that you share responsibilities for some of the limited supervision clients of the Department of Corrections.
That's
is that
correct.
accurate?
Yes.
And you were asked by your supervisor, Mr. Schreiner, to cover today's hearing for Sandy Olson. Is that also accurate?
That's correct.
And have you had an opportunity to briefly review the file to acquaint yourself with the facts that are before this court?
I have.
And can you describe for the court what information you have that supports the allegation that Ms. Gaston has failed to report to her probation officer as directed?
I reviewed the file, and in May of last year, she had been under the active supervision of Officer Ted Smentana. He explained to her that he was going to be transferring her case to the limited unit, which would not require that she report other than by mail. I've determined that she had complied with all the conditions of supervision up to that point, with the exception of paying $120 to the court. And she had signed a payment plan with the court on August 20th of '98 to start paying $20 a month. And that payment, the first payment, would have been due September 20th of '98. She did not make any payments on that, and I do not see any evidence of her having reported. A letter was sent to her address and indicated that she needed to become in compliance. That was in February of this year.
And was that letter returned to the officer? Had it been properly delivered?
I do not see any evidence of that letter being returned.
And in that letter, did it explain the consequences to Ms. Gaston if she failed to comply with the directive to report?
It does. You must report in person on March 1st at 11 a.m. Failure to report will result in a warrant being issued for your arrest. And that is signed by Sandra Olson.
And that is subsequently what occurred, that a warrant
correct.
Went out because of her failure to comply. Your Honor, at this point, I have no further information for the court to support the allegations.
Cross-examine, ma'am?
Yes. You state that in January of 1999 that I was in compliance with all of the terms of my probation. Is that correct?
January?
January of 1999, according to Ted Smetana's paperwork?
Yes.
And that is that I had done 100 hours of community service. I had spent 10 days in jail. I
Correct.
had reported to him every time,
Yes.
promptly, no problems.
Yes.
Do you have the paperwork in front of you that was brought, that I was arrested on? It says notification and violation probation in order to show cause why probation should not be revoked. The other one says, what is it? Violation report. Do you have these documents?
Oh, yes, I do.
Could you get them so we could talk about them?
Sure. I have cause order that was submitted.
I'm talking about the only discovery that I've been given. I was given in
Okay.
court last
Yeah,
Tuesday.
that's what I have.
Okay, and I would like to ask, why are you here instead of Miss Olson?
Ms. Olson had a previous commitment to take someone to Portland, and she was not able to be here.
Isn't it a fact that when my husband answered, when I was told to report that I had not reported, well, I'll come back to that because we'll keep it in chronological order. Okay. I want to discuss these papers that I was arrested on with you. So are you actually being like my probation officer right now?
No, ma'am, I am testifying from the file.
Do you know anything of the case of credible testimony, what you've seen or heard?
I am not familiar with this case at all.
So you know nothing except what you've been told?
I just reviewed the file.
Have you seen the letters that I have written to Nancy Wilson back in '98?
I know that they're in here because I had looked through them, but I didn't read them.
You didn't read them. Did
No.
you read the letter that I sent to Sandra Olson in reply to her letter to me?
I have it available, but I have not read it.
So you don't know anything about this case?
I am just testifying to the 2 allegations that were failed to, that were not followed. And I am testifying from her report.
So you actually have no personal knowledge of the case whatsoever?
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay. Okay. I want to talk about, first of all, this notification of violation of probation. This one paper?
Yes.
It says that it's signed on March 1st by Sandra Olson.
Yes.
Will you please tell me who the judge is that signed it?
I'm not sure that I can identify his signature.
So you have no idea who the judge is?
I could guess, but I really don't know.
Okay. Can you prove to me it's not a forgery by one of these probation officers?
Your Honor, at this point, I'm going to object. This was a...
Answer yes or no.
Okay.
Sure can.
It is part of a, this is a...
It's a yes or no question, ma'am.
Oh,
Yes or
I'm
no?
sorry. Restate the
Would
question.
you please tell me if you can prove that this is not a forgery?
I'm not sure that I could.
You cannot prove it's not a forgery. That's
Correct.
right. Isn't it a fact that Judge Charles Lukanen is the judge that was on the presiding judge originally on this case?
Yes.
And isn't it a fact that Ted Smetana told me specifically that if there would be any probation violation, it would be Judge Lukanen that would order it?
I can't testify to that. I don't know.
Because you have no knowledge of the case.
That's true.
All right, let's go on to the next thing here. Okay, violation report. You have that in front of you, 2 pages?
Yes.
Okay, who is this person up here at the top? It says approved by.
That is Pat Schreiner. That is our supervisor.
Your supervisor. Okay, and down here it says that I am on a low risk score. Is that correct?
Yes.
At the top, up there, it says risk score low.
Yes.
And isn't the fact that I've been held for 12 days without bail?
I'm not familiar with what has transpired up to this point. I'm sorry. 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 I'm sorry.